cool. So I'm gonna intro and I'm gonna say, "Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Alec from Team APS, and here's my puppet." And I'll put my hand here, and then I'll speak, and you open your mouth.
What the hell?
I'm Paul.
When was this part of the
And I'm Paul. Come on, you gotta do it.
How do I do that?
All right. Just open your mouth.
Oh,
and
okay.
Mouth, and I'm Paul. And I'm Paul. Perfect. What's up, guys? Team APS here, and we're bringing you our new video
The decks that were robbed
by Master Rule 4. We're coming for you.
Master Rule 4 was, not entirely met with positive review.
I thought it was abhorred.
It was.
Okay.
But some decks made the transition better than others. And these are the decks that kind of just really got the short end of the
They
stick.
took a step into Master Rule 4 and fell right on their faces.
Yeah, so, most decks didn't like having to use link monsters and stuff to summon their extra deck stuff. But certain decks
Can't
Can't
Can't play. It's just not.
I'll start the list off. Dustins. Dustins are first. Dustins kind of just... Man, links were rude to them. They did them dirty.
But what do you mean? You can still summon a Dustin to your opponent's side of the field.
Yeah, so Dustins are cool. You can still do that, huh?
Yeah.
And plus, since your opponent can't use them for Xyz material, Synchro material, Fusion material, they can't even be tributed.
So there's nothing they can do.
Yeah. Till Links came along. Kind of ruined it. So that should set the tone for this video and what we mean by that. So basically, because of Link Monster's existence, there's never a time when giving your opponent a Dustin is ever going to really hamper them.
You're actually just helping them.
Yeah, sure, maybe it's okay against True Draco, I don't know, but when the vast majority of decks are gonna have some Link Monster in them that they can just summon, then putting Dustins on their side of the field doesn't help. The Dustins are cool. They have cool effects when your opponent is able to get rid of them. They either take a little bit of damage or they lose a card temporarily or whatever, but just the fundamental strategy is really flawed now.
Can you imagine? You give your opponent a Dustin, they go ahead and make Sara Yuya. They couldn't have done it without you. You just furthered their win condition.
Couldn't have done it without you, but yeah, and it's unfortunate because Dustins were a pretty popular kind of fun gimmick deck. They weren't. Even before Master Rule 4, I'm not going to pretend it was meta or
I almost
great.
won YCS whatever with no.
But, it was a cool deck, and it does suck to see Master Rule 4 ruin a deck like that. And that's only the first one on the list.
Yeah, I guess speaking of gimmick decks, GoStrix.
Yeah, a really sad one to have to include. Speaking of gimmicks.
Yeah, because GoStrix kind of need everything to be able to be flipped face down. Otherwise, their field spells are just useless.
And it's so convenient because as Konami continues to add new monster types, new rules that break old rules, Link monsters literally cannot be flipped face down. They can't even be in defense position.
Yeah, so poor GoStrix can't play.
Can't flip them down. And you might be thinking, well, okay, your opponent has a monster face up, that's not so bad. Their field spells are fundamentally broken now, can't operate.
Yep.
Because the field spells are supposed to let you, attack your opponent directly, you flip all their stuff face down, and it's really cool. Links can't be. Your opponent can make any Link monster and you're just kind of powerless to actually do what you're supposed to do with the GoStrix deck.
And those spells went both ways. If all of your monsters were face down, your opponent can attack you directly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's no win condition.
Sometimes your opponent can even take advantage of that. And I just think that's really awful. I know, Konami had to make Link monsters, the arrows would be weird, they could be in defense and all that stuff, but you were saying earlier, it'd be cool if they could at least be face down. Just so GoStrix could do something.
Let them exist, Konami, please.
But anywho, next deck, Phages. So, Phages,
It's a pendulum deck. Pendulum editions prove that pendulums can play under Master Rule 4.
Yeah, it's a shame the way that this all works. So basically, Phage monsters, when they're in the scales, they can provide you with some pretty valuable protection, and that's nice. But the thing is, with Phages on the field, nobody can summon from the extra deck except Phage monsters. Problem is, you can't even really use Electromite, which is the best, thing for Pendulum is the best Link monster. They can't even really make it. Now, if they make it first, that's one thing.
You gotta make it before you get any more Phages on board, right?
Yeah, maybe using Curtain Raiser or Dark Worm or something like that. But other than that, you can't even like make Electromite, and you can't use any Link monsters like at all. And it's just, and because of how Master Rule 4 limits the actual pendulum mechanics, where you can't like Cecil summon a bunch of stuff out, it's virtually impossible to actually make multiple Morphages and like keep them out. It just nothing works. It's a real shame. But like,
I mean, there's at least like the glint of hope if a Morphage's ever got a Link. Like,
if they ever get a Link, and that's all Konami needs to do.
That's a big if.
And I mean, knowing Konami, they'll give it like it'll be like Link 3, so it'll be really hard to summon and won't even have a great effect. But I mean, it's just something, Konami. You know, it's just something, please.
Help them.
Yeah. So yeah, Morphages. What else?
So the next deck is Ignites. Woo, another pendulum deck.
Early pendulum days.
Yeah.
Early.
These decks are like a Morphage designed to take advantage of the pendulum mechanic. Ignites are really cool, and they were almost meta, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, they can do cool stuff.
You destroyed your Ignites in the scale to get more Ignites, and so they would load up the extra deck with a bunch of Ignites, and then you'd eventually make a huge pendulum summon, fill up the whole board, and...
I remember they could actually use Rongo Mini somewhat reliably. It was kind of their thing.
But Master Rule 4 says you get 1 extra monster zone.
Yeah, which, you know, I get it. Pendulums can feel really overwhelming when they're summoning everything back. If you look at a deck like Pepe, I see how that can get out of hand. But Ignites were never really on the radar as, like, so broken.
They were an engine, right?
Yeah,
that's what they did.
You can maybe run them as, like, a pendulum engine, you know, things like that. Not anymore?
No, you can't.
You can't do anything anymore.
Can't.
And you really never will be able to. I mean, unless they change Master Rule 4 or something, you just can't summon out all your Ignites, so it's not worth using their effects to begin with, so it's not worth running them, so like...
Well, you can summon them out the hand. I don't know.
Well, anywho, we've got one last Pendulum deck on this list, sort of, I
notice
guess.
there's a trend here.
And this one's a little bit weird. It's Crystal Beasts.
CBs?
So, Crystal Beasts, you know, I'm not going to pretend they're a top tier deck or anything close, but they had 2 support monsters. I forget the names, but they're Crystal Beast monsters that are pendulum monsters. So you put them in the pendulum scales and they provide protection, like your Crystal Beast can't be targeted, that type of thing. Or they can't be destroyed once per turn. Would have been fine with the way the old pendulum scales were, you know, before Master Rule 4,
they were in the
like
spell and trap
extended
zones.
out, and they didn't take up your spell and trap zone, so this was great. It's
Made
like
for an
a way-
ugly mat.
Yes. Made it a way to protect your Crystal Beast monsters and still use the normal Crystal Beast monsters effects where they go down in the spell and trap zone. Everyone's happy, right? Well, now that the pendulum scales are part of the spell and trap card zones, if you want to use these pendulum monsters and their protection effects, you will be filling up your spell and trap card zones, prohibiting you from actually using your Crystal Beasts.
Oh. Well, you can still make like Rainbow Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to have some fun,
Like
and I mean some very casual
Rainbow
fun,
Dragon.
they can't even use Crystal Abundance anymore. Like, not like if you're using these, you can't use Abundance. You'll never actually have, like, it's insane.
I think the rudest part about that is I remember when those cards were announced and Crystal Beast players were excited. They couldn't wait to finally get their hands on them. But it took forever for them to finally come out.
Yeah, they were announced before we even knew what Master Rule 4 was, and then like they come out late into Master Rule 4, and you're just deck's dead.
Thanks, I guess.
That reminds me, decks that are dead, like, you know, get support after Master Rule 4 and are dead, and
The next deck, Triple D's, a deck that's near and dear to my heart. They were
this is the last Pendulum deck, huh?
I guess yeah. They were the best Pendulum combo deck to me, in my opinion.
I would agree.
Master
They
Rule
were
4
awesome.
disagrees though,
Kind of ruined them.
because the way the deck played, it was a combo deck, yes, but it needed every last resource. Like Lamia and Copernicus, I forget their names now.
Yeah.
But you need every last resource. You don't, in DDDs, you don't have resources to make a pendulum monster first. You do that, and the ceiling of the deck just
Or Link monster, you mean? A Link?
Oh my god, Link monster.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like an example of one of those decks where, okay, there are going to be some DDD players who are going to be in the comments and like, yeah, well, DDDs can still do some things, which is true.
Yeah.
But it's like, is it worth it when other decks do it better?
They'll do much more. and better at it.
Yeah.
It hurts because, you know, if you ever played DD's pre-Master Rule 4, we got to do so much.
Super strong combo.
Like, we were the first deck to really make use of Crystal Wing.
Yeah, and like Siegfried, I remember that was a really big one.
He can negate spells.
Siegfried.
Like,
Yeah, and a lot like Crystal Beasts, they got the support like literally just like after like I feel like that's very insulting.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of the support was stuff that was known before, like
looking at you,
Master Rule 4.
High King Genghis.
Yeah, and all that stuff, and they just wait and slowly give it to you in like 2018 or something. It's very insulting to me.
It came out post Master Rule 4. I didn't even. It was the only card I was waiting on for DDs. After Master Rule 4, I just forgot. It came out, and Paul had to tell me, yeah, we pulled that. I was like, we did?
Yeah. And, the last deck, Crystons. This is funny because everyone's going to think like, lol, needle fiber. No, it has nothing to do with needle fiber. Crystons are garbage town with Master Rule 4. You know why? Because as cool as they are, and the fact that they can like do like turbo synchro summoning, is that what it's called? Turbo synchro? Excel synchro, where you synchro on your opponent's turn.
Oh wait, no, that might be turbo Excel.
Either way, that's what they do. But all their effects say that for the rest of the turn after you use any of their effects, you can only summon machine-type synchro monsters. Totally fine restriction in Master Rule 3, whatever. All of their synchros were machines. They even had some other machine synchros like Howard and
So you would
Zectron.
just make a synchro and like a synchro. You make a few different things.
Everything was fine. But thanks to links, not a thing. You couldn't, even if they gave, I mean, even with needle fiber existing, it's not a machine synchro. So even in the Crystron deck, using needle fiber can be a little bit complicated. And, you know, needle fiber will come out, it will help this deck, and then 9 times out of freaking 10, it's probably gonna end up getting banned or something because some other deck.
I think needle fiber is gonna come out after Master Rule 5.
Or that. That's the. I like Crystron, that's all I'm saying.
I didn't even think they were a deck.
It's so easy to forget with some of these decks, you know.
But those are our decks that got robbed.
Yeah, they got rocked by Master Rule 4. It was bad. And I'm sure there are plenty others that you guys can think of. So let us know down in the comments. What other decks, probably ones that you played, kind of got stomped out by Master Rule 4?
Konami announced Master Rule 4 and said, run your deck. Run your cards.
And like, what would it take to make those decks better? That's something I'd like to hear in the comments too.
A Link
like, how
monster.
would you, half the time that's usually the solution.
A Link monster, whether it be a Link 1 or a Link 2, give it to them.
So, yeah, that's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos like this one. I think that's going to be it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Get one of these shirts. It's a past turn shirt. It's kind of what we say.
It's a thing.
Yeah, pick it up on Teespring. Information's down in the description. All right, actually, without further ado, we'll see you guys in the next one.
I guess one more time. Pass turn. No, it's not going to work. We're not going to do that.
Lord.
But if we ever do gimmick puppet content, this is coming back.
A gimmick is to just pull a puppet out from under.
No, you will be the marionette, Paul.
I guess I look like one, huh?
Like, I'm going to get...
I literally look like my bones could probably
It would be perfect if Alex was back and I could make some fake... marionette, whatchamacallit things.
Yeah, like
some
and then
strings. Like, so like he would just like go over your head and you just move your arms like this as if you're like
I'm gonna give it a trumpet. That should be the Halloween video.